All right, so today we are talking about lying. So I'm going to tell you about a story that affected my life because of somebody that was lying to me and the damage that it really actually did to me. But there's more than one kind of lie. Okay, so people can make up something. They can just totally make up something that's absolutely not true. That's a lie. But we also can lie to ourselves when we feel a certain way, but we don't allow ourselves to. So let's deal with that one first. So an example of this would be, somebody coming to me, let's say your childhood was not perfect. So you then are part of the 99.9% population whose childhood was not perfect, okay? So that doesn't mean, that you don't love your parents. It doesn't mean, anything bad about your parents if your childhood wasn't perfect. But often, people will lie to themselves their whole entire life. They will tell themselves, oh, my parents, tried their hardest and they did, and they will never say anything negative about their parents. This is good, right? We don't want negative things. We don't want to say these negative things. We don't want to spread that throughout the consciousness. But here's the problem when it's not true. So let's say that something was done and it was not necessarily done intentionally, but let's say that something happened and it hurt you in some way. If we make excuses for that thing that hurt us, and we don't allow ourselves to just feel the hurt because we're so busy making excuses and talking ourselves out of why we shouldn't feel that way. This is a lie, and the problem with this is that we can't heal. We can't heal because we're lying about it. Whereas if we just said, you know what, no, my parents weren't perfect and this thing did happen and it really did hurt me, and we just, really admit to ourselves, yes, this thing hurt me. I felt hurt, and we allow ourselves to feel that hurt, to just sit in it and to feel it. As soon as we allow this, if this is something that we haven't been allowing, all of a sudden the tension and the stiffness and the tightness that has been held within your body around that lie begins to melt away and dissipate. Let me give you one more example of this. Let's say that you have been hurt by love in the past before. Maybe you've been betrayed. Okay, so now there's fear that is around love. So let's say that you meet somebody new, and you meet this person and immediately you feel things for this person, like, oh wow, like I'm really feeling something for this person, but you don't want to feel it because subconsciously you don't want to get hurt again, and so you shut it down and you don't allow yourself to feel how it is that you're feeling. As soon as you do this, you are lying to yourself, and it is going to build up this tension and this stress inside of your body. And the problem with that is that now we're holding on to a lie inside of our body. So we're holding on to tension and stress, and let's say that you talked yourself out of feeling this way for a person. Now you've got a new problem. And you're going to feel, perhaps you might even feel more strongly or some type of feeling around this person because you're not allowing yourself to just feel how you feel, So if that's been the case with you, letting yourself feel how you feel. So let's say that you met somebody and you really did feel like these feelings of love for them. Give in to those feelings, give into them, and as soon as you give into them, they no longer have a hold over you, and they begin to soften and release, and it will really change those things. Okay, so now on to my story. So we're about 5 minutes in here. This is my story about how a lie affected me. So I used to walk to my office as often as I possibly could. I was, a few blocks away from my office. So I would go to my office, and on my way there, I'm dealing with a new client. I would get words for them. So I would be walking, and I would just think, what is this person coming for? And the divine would tell me. So I would get to my office, and then I would write it down and be like, okay, this person, needs self-love. This person needs whatever it was that the divine told me that they need. I would make a note of it when I got there. We would do their session. No matter what they told me that they were there for, no matter whatever I had been told by the divine was the base cause, even if their issue was presenting as smoking or drinking too much or, being depressed or anxious, whatever it happened to be, whatever the divine had told me, that would be the reason why their issue was there. When I would take them back, when I would regress them, that would be the thing that would pop up. So I really trusted myself because I would get this for all of my clients. I would do this all of the time. So I really, really trusted myself because my clients get results. So everything, I'm constantly proving to myself what the divine is telling me is true. What the divine is telling me is true. So I've been doing what I do. It's 9 years. I think we're coming up on 10 here. So I've been doing this for a long time. So at some point here, this is several years ago, my husband starts cheating on me, but I'm unaware of this. I'm unaware. So because he's doing this, lies are being told. Lies are being told to me. So at some point, we go on vacation. And while we are sleeping together, I have this flash go through my head, and I think, oh, what the frick? He's been with prostitutes, and I was told he's been with 2 prostitutes. And I mean, he traveled for work. He would travel, he would go to different cities and this kind of thing, but he would always communicate with me when he was out. I trusted him. So when this comes to my mind and I'm told, just like I would be told things, about my clients that are coming to me, and I'm told he's been with prostitutes, I immediately start talking myself out of this. We're on vacation in Mexico, and I'm just talking myself out of this. Like, this is impossible. When would that have happened? How could that have happened? He would never do that to me. Never in a million years. And I mean, I'd been with this man, when it's all said and done, it's been 24 years. So I'm just, I thought he was loyal. I believed that. So when I'm told this, that he's been with prostitutes, I lie to myself and tell myself, no, that's impossible, that this is not true. Okay, so we'll flash forward here. So at some point, significantly after this has happened, after he's cheated, he then is blackmailed by one of the prostitutes that he has been with. And she says, give me money or I'm going to tell your wife. At which point he was like, I need to tell my wife. So he calls me while I'm at the dentist office with my daughter. And he is, clearly distraught, saying he needs to talk to me. And he has something he has to tell me, and it's not good. At which point I'm like, dude, I'm at the dentist, but I want to know right now. Like, I'm not waiting to find out. Like, I'm not, you can't call me back. You can't tell me what you've told me and then not tell me what you have to tell me. So he told me, part of it. More of a lie. He told me that he was being blackmailed by this prostitute, but that he had never actually slept with her. That he panicked, that he freaked out, that he could never do that to me. And so he changed his mind. He had to pay her anyways because he made her go there, and blah, blah, blah. It comes up with some elaborate lie. At which point I knew was not true. I knew what he was telling me was not true, that inner knowing. But I wanted to believe it so badly, so desperately, that I chose to believe it. And I said to him, if I ever find out that, the truth is that, that you really did, we're done. We're done. Of course. He would never do that to me. Never do that to me. Of course he had and did and was lying. So then what happened over the next couple of years was so damaging to me. It spiritually, I use my spiritual gifts with my clients. When I am working with people, this is why it works. Because I am using my gifts, I am using that intuition, and it is the divine telling me what this person needs, and now it is the divine just actually giving the words that are spoken that person needs for healing. But over this period of time, when I was being lied to, this went out the window, this trust that I had in myself. So then people would come to me, and normally I would be getting messages. I wasn't even getting the messages. It was like I had shut this down. I shut it down because I didn't trust myself anymore. So I had gone from people coming to me for this and for that, and knowing, I'm talking details that I needed to know about these people. I'm talking, the divine gave me detailed details about things that I needed to know, and this was just shut down. It was just shut off as soon as I started doubting myself, because intuitively I knew better. I knew he was lying to me, but I didn't want it so badly that I chose to not believe it. It's like, the abusive relationship that everybody sees it from the outside of, maybe the person's really controlling, they don't let this other person do whatever, and that person makes excuses for that person and their bad behavior all the time. It was like this, but it was so damaging. It was so damaging to me. So here's what happened when I found out the truth. So when I finally found out, when he told me, I'm going to tell you about the day that I was told what really happened. So I knew that it was coming. That morning, I was on my way to my ex's aunt's house because she was caring for her mom at the time, so my ex's grandma. And so I thought, and she was dying. She was on her way out. So the day that I decided I was going to go up there, so to my ex's aunt's house, I knew when I got in the car that day, I was told a few things. First of all, I knew that his grandma was going to pass while I was there. And I can't remember what else I knew about that. Okay, so I knew that, I knew she was going to pass. I was told that I would help prepare the body, which I didn't know what that meant at the time. I had never been there when someone had passed before. And I was told that when I got home, Patrick was going to tell me something. That's my ex. Was going to tell me something, and that it was going to be way harder than what I thought it was going to be. that he was gonna tell me something, and it was going to be really difficult for me to handle. Now, this was concerning because I've been told things in my life before. I had been told when I was a kid, that my mom's friend was going to pass. This was very helpful to me because when she did, then, it didn't come as a surprise. I was always warned by the divine. I was always told things, to help me. So to hear that I'm going to be hearing something that's going to be way harder to hear than I thought, I'm concerned about this. But at the same time, I'm like, at that point, I'm still, whatever. I was just taking it how I took it. So I go to Zan's house. And I had been there. I'm actually going to tell you this part of this story too, because it was really wonderful. So his grandma was never nice to me. She was just not a nice person. So me and her didn't really see eye to eye. So I just didn't really talk to her much. But as she had got older, she had got dementia, and all of a sudden, she's a more pleasant person to be around. So I walk into the room where she's at, and she is clearly on her way out. But the energy in the room was so sweet and soft and nice. Oh, it was so wonderful. And I could feel that this was really her energy. So, I had been involved in this woman's life for, like I said, I'd been with my husband for 24 years. So I have known her for a very long time. And this is the first time I was actually experiencing her for real, like what her soul is really like. And so it was really nice just to be there in that energy. So I kind of grabbed her hand and I said, hey, I'm here. And I think I'm sure I had a conversation with her telepathically. That's how I talk to most people. And told her, it's okay to go, and that, I love her and whatnot. Anyways, it was really nice. It was really nice because there was no bitterness, no anything that was there. There was just, I truly felt like I loved this woman for the first time because I was really experiencing her soul. So anyways, she dies about 5 minutes or 10 minutes later. And so I go back into the room after she's passed, and there is the most peaceful feeling. Like, I'm very sensitive to energy, and I've never felt such a wonderful, wonderful peace. Like, it was just a loving, harmonious peace. It was a really, it was wonderful. So I help her daughter, prepare the body. She called, hey, my mom has passed. We need to come and have her picked up. Anyways, I stayed at their house for another however long. I don't exactly remember. So I leave. And I'm on my way back, and I'm like, well, I guess I better tell my husband that his grandma has just passed. So I call him, and he says, hey, I want to meet up with you at the office. So we have an office building. This is my office. It's also where he has his jiu-jitsu gym. And that's where we go to meet if we're going to be discussing serious things. So I go and I meet him down there, and he tells me, and he's obviously nervous, but he tells me, yes, he has been with a couple of prostitutes. Not only that, he's been with somebody else, he's gone to strippers, he's done all of these things, and yes, he did actually sleep with the hookers. So I am devastated, beside myself, because I knew that this had happened, but I had shut it down so much so that this is coming as a actual shock to my system. It was the hardest thing I've ever gone through in my life. And I didn't want to see anybody. I wished I was dead. I wished I could just die. I I spent so much time meditating, trying to heal. What I would do for somebody else in a session, I'm doing that for myself. Constantly. Like, I have to make this better. And there was no making it better. There wasn't. So what ends up happening is, as soon as I am told the truth, I was set free. It was horrible, devastating. I wanted to die, but at the same time, it was a complete relief, because that inner knowing that I had known, that I knew that whole time, was confirmed to me. And so then what happens? Well, now I'm pissed at myself that I knew better and that I believed in this lie for such a long time. So mad at myself for believing in this lie when I knew better, but I couldn't prove it. But at the same time, I don't need proof for things now. I don't need to see some kind of proof in front of my eyes, because I know every time that I have suspected or known or thought, I was right. So I was set free when I got this truth, even though it was a terrible thing, and I wished I was dead, and I wished that I didn't know. I'm so thankful for it. Because had that not happened, had I not gone through that whole entire experience, I wouldn't have had to heal, because I desperately needed to heal. Like, I was in love with this man. And I just was so blind, choosing to be blind, I guess, because I didn't want it to be true. But upon hearing the truth and being set free, it really did set me free when I heard the truth, because it was confirming something that I already knew. And so all I had been doing to myself in the past was lying to myself when I would talk myself out of, feeling how I felt. Oh, of course, no, he wouldn't do that to me, but I was talking myself out of these things. So anyways, the result of this is that it is so damaging when you lie to somebody else, because they now base their reality off of that lie. And so if they intuitively know better, which most of us do, then it starts to cause doubt, and it starts to cause all these things. So the damage that you do through the lie is not just the lie itself. That's not the only thing that you have to pay for. You reap as you sow. So whatever damage was done to me by this lie will be returned to the one who sent it out in the first place. So even when we tell a white lie, even if it is something that seems insignificant, let's say that you're exaggerating a story. You're telling a story and then you're going to make it into something better than it is. That is a lie. And you are distorting the reality, and whoever is hearing that is going to base their life, their thoughts, off of the lie that you have told. So let's say that you've exaggerated something and made it into something more glorious than what it is. Well, who knows what type of damage could happen to this person's psyche who you have told this lie to. And whatever damage is done, you are going to have to pay for that at some point. You reap as you sow. So we're not doing anybody any favors, including ourselves, by even telling a white lie. The truth is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. Had he, my ex, not done what he did to me back in the day, had that not happened, I would have had no reason to heal. I would have had no reason to dive in so deep into myself and to create inner healing for myself. I am almost positive that the enlightenments that I've experienced and that I experience and that I use to help and create healing, that divine healing with my clients, none of that would have happened. So these negative things that happen in our life are not negative things. So even if you've been lied to, even if right now you have so much self-doubt, heal from it. Because when it comes back, it will be so much stronger. That's now myself. Am I going to doubt myself now here in the future when I feel something or I know something or I think something? Not a million. I'm not going to doubt myself because I was right the whole time before. I knew I was, and I talked myself out of it. So now I don't talk myself out of the things that I know. So I learned, but we don't learn and we don't know until we've gone through something that makes us learn and makes us know. So, I guess the short of the long is, if you've been lying to yourself about something, even just about the way that you feel about something, just stop. Just allow yourself to feel it. So let's say that you are pissed that, your parents weren't perfect when you were little, or that they hurt your feelings, or maybe you felt left out. Just let yourself sit in that feeling of feeling that way for like a moment. Like imagine your little self, just allow them to feel that way, because as soon as you allow it, it eases off, it softens, and it dissipates, it just goes, it just leaves. But anytime that we're putting resistance, think of resistance as tension. Anytime that we're putting that out there, resistance to something that is, it does cause tension. It does cause stress within our bodies. So I guess my message today is be mindful of your words. If you're someone who's prone to exaggerate your stories, stop doing it. The truth is a beautiful, 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 beautiful thing. And if you guys have not yet looked up that water experiment by Dr. Emoto, look it up, Dr. Emoto, E-M-O-T-O, I think. And look up what truth looks like, because truth is actually a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing, and lying is ugly. It's distorted, and if you're holding lies in your body, that ugliness, ugh, gross. You don't want that. You don't want that. You don't want that. You don't want that, because truth is beautiful. That's what you want. Anyways, that's my message here for today. I love you all. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. And if you guys haven't read my blog yet, I will post the blog that goes along with this talk here today below. You can read it. It's short. It's on my website. When I went up to the cabin, my video equipment was not working, so I ended up just doing mostly writing. So it's mostly blogs that I have from that private spiritual retreat that I went on by myself up at the cabin there. Anyways, I love you guys. Thanks for listening to this audio only podcast. I love you guys, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care.